Welcome to the Borden SportsNet for our Borden season basketball kickoff, presented by the Borden Braves Foundation. I'm Kaela Rose, your host today, and I'm here with Borden graduates Cruz Martin and Hayden Smith. We are so excited to start off the 2022-2023 Borden basketball season, and with that, we'll be starting off with the Borden Lady Braves head coach Matt Vick, as well as two of his senior girls, Delaney Smith and Emily Cissell. For you all, here's Hayden Smith and Cruz Martin.
Kayla, thanks, and thank you guys so much for agreeing to join us. So, Coach Vick, we'll start out with you and kind of walk me through what a successful season looks like for your group this year.
We've set some pretty high goals this year, and so far we've met those. I'm not going to get into what exactly they are, but we would like to win our conference. We'd like to get our year up there on a sectional title. So we have some pretty lofty goals, but we know we have to work harder to achieve those.
Coach, your team is currently on a 3-game winning streak. You're heading into a tough couple road games coming up. What are your thoughts on how the season has played out thus far?
We're 5-2. I feel like we could possibly be 6-1. Scottsburg's a really good team. Eastern, I think the first game jitters got to us, and but all in all, I know we got 2 tough conference road games coming up, and with Lanesville, they're the team to beat in our sectionals, so. It's kind of we want to win our conference, but it's also a test to see where we stand at here in a few months.
Until recently, you faced 2 levels of competition. So you started out the year playing Eastern. You also played Scottsburg, 2 really good teams. And you also took care of business against some subpar teams as well. And then your last game against Shaw Memorial was really the first semi-close game that you guys have kind of had to compete in order to win, which is good for a team, though, going forward. So how do you think that will play into how teams handle closer games later on in the year?
I think it gives us a little confidence. Nothing against some of our other wins this year, but when you're up 30, 40 points, you don't really have that pressure of, knocking down that shot or, staying in front. So having this tight game and credit to Shaw Memorial, they're definitely underrated. So I think whenever we play those tougher teams, having that that pressure off of us because we've been there and we've done that before. So it was good. It's actually a really good win for us on Monday. So hopefully we continue that.
Coach, usually your starting 5 consists of 4 freshman girls. What does this group of freshman girls bring to this team?
They bring a lot of athleticism. I mean, those girls have played their entire, pretty much their entire lives. So I think they bring a lot of speed for us. But again, our freshmen are definitely pretty good players, but it takes a full team, and our seniors have stepped up relentlessly too. So credit to both groups.
Looking at the freshmen, you mentioned that they played basketball their whole lives, but at the varsity level, do you still think that there's a little bit of a learning curve that they're going to have to go through?
Absolutely. The physicality is a huge point, and some of the things that they were very successful in grade school and junior high, it's not as easy at the high school level. When you're playing 18-year-old girls who have played varsity and can take care of the basketball, you're not going to get that steal every other possession. So, they have a tremendous learning curve, and hopefully, by the end of the season, even though they're still freshmen, they won't act like freshmen and play like freshmen.
Coach, in the 5 games that your team has won this season, the margin of victory has been 40 points. The 2 games lost has been 18. How can you prepare your team for tougher opponents like Lanesville coming up?
We've had some practices where we brought in some junior high boys to kind of up the athleticism. Nothing against our JV, but we don't have we have 3 or 4 girls who have never played basketball before. So we've been fortunate enough to have some junior high boys come in and give us a little bit of athleticism and a test for us to practice against that. Because if we can handle their speed and physicality, I think that will help us, in our games against high school girls.
What are some areas that you think your team needs to improve on going forward to be successful, not only in the regular season but also the postseason?
I think our defense has to get better. We're getting there, but still not good enough. I'm a firm believer that defenses win championships. If you can hold a team under 40 points, I think we can score 40 points. So defensively, again, we got to get more discipline. Work a little bit harder on the defensive end. Everybody loves to shoot the ball, but staying in front is definitely underappreciated.
Coach, for the first time during your tenure as head coach, Sectional 61 will be held here in Borden, Indiana, in Borden High School. How important is it for your team to have the full might of the Borden faithful behind you come tournament time?
It's nice. We don't have to drive an hour and 15 minutes to South Central or New Wash. So I remember the year we went to the finals, we had to go to South Central 3 different days, and that ride stinks. I'll leave it at that. And so it's nice to be able to have it here. Having our home crowd, these kids have, practiced 70, 80 times a year here. So having that home court advantage is definitely a plus for us.
And what's something that's really impressed you so far with this group up to this point in the season?
I would say our team chemistry. We have some seniors and we have some freshmen, and we got a couple kids sprinkled in between, and getting those kids to buy into the overall team concept has, this summer I thought was going to be a huge obstacle for us, but it's actually been pretty easy so far. So I'm very proud of our team chemistry on that.
Final question to you, Coach. This is your 6th season as the Borden Lady Braves head coach. What has it meant to you to be the coach of this group of girls?
It means a lot. They're a good group of kids. Coach Nash and I talk about it all the time that, these kids are in the papers, so that, they're held to a higher standard. And these kids are great kids academically, great kids behaviorally. So I'm very honored, very proud to have these kids as my players. And basketball is a long and grueling sport, so seeing these girls stick with it, it's a huge plus.
All right, we're going to move on to Emily Cissell now. Emily, with the incoming freshman class, you've had a bit of a metaphorical weight taken off your shoulders to a certain extent. How much relief did they provide when looking at the loads that you've had to carry over the last 2 seasons or so?
Oh, it's been great. Like, the boxing one is not there anymore. And when a team decides they want to maybe try that on us, I love it. I love the opportunity for them to be able to score. Or when a team wants to worry about me, that's fine. Come out and guard me. We're going to have girls who can go in the post up, or even kick it out when we have a shooter on the wing, and it just takes the load so much more off of me.
Emily, it's hard to believe that it's already been 4 years since your freshman campaign, and this team kind of looks like it's been the most complete team that you've been a part of. How's the chemistry and bond between you all like?
Oh, it's been great. It feels like we've played together for years. We didn't know going in, and like Coach Vick said in the summer, but to see how we bonded together, they're my best friends on and off the court.
Your career is winding down. I think it's easy to say that this is the best shot that Borden's had at a solid postseason run in your 4 years here. How much extra motivation does that give, not just you, but your teammates as well?
We've always had that want-to, but we've always seen the obstacle at the end of the road. And this year we know we have so much potential, and it's there, and we just have to meet it. When we know it's in reach, we know we're hungry for it.
Emily, I'm not sure if you remember, but we were part of the broadcast here for the boys sectional last year, Borden versus Rock Creek, and you said during that broadcast, and I quote, "A home game for your sectional, the student section packed, I can only imagine the feeling." How excited are you that sectionals is now going to be in Borden, hopefully a packed crowd? You'll be able to imagine that feeling.
It's a dream come true. That's what all of us have dreamed about since we were little, and we get to do that here as a senior, and I hope we can take one home.
Delaney Smith, now we'll move on to you. This season's already beginning to feel a little bit different from last year. However, there's still a long way to go and a lot of work to be done considering it's the first month of the regular season. But what has the atmosphere like been in practice between the coaches and the players and everyone in between?
It's been great. It's been completely different than last year and the years I've had before. The chemistry is great. The girls are great. Coaches are great this year. We've had a lot of motivation and encouragement on and off the court, so it's been really good.
Delaney, you've been a part of a team that continues to improve each and every year in the past 4 seasons. How different is this year's team compared to the previous teams you've been a part of?
It's completely different. We have a lot of freshmen and a lot of seniors and a couple in between. So there's a ginormous maturity gap, but to see it all come together and see us play together and see us get along in the locker room, hanging outside of basketball and off the court, it's been amazing.
And there was a video of you somewhere on the internet of you absolutely dousing Coach Vick with a water bottle after he picked up his 50th win. How good did that feel, and how long have you been waiting for an opportunity like that to come up?
I actually think Coach might have been waiting for it before me, but it felt pretty good to do it. He did it to us when we beat New Wash last year, and I've been wanting to do it back to him ever since, so it was pretty good. I apparently was not supposed to get him with the water bottle, but I did it anyway, and I think he's glad I did.
So any final question, when everything is all said and done and that last buzzer sounds at the end of this season, how do you want your career as a Borden Lady Brave to be remembered as?
I want people to remember me as a leader, not necessarily a basketball player or a track athlete or any of those things. I want to be remembered as a leader.
Delaney Smith, thank you so much. We're going to send it back to Kaela Rose real quick.
And that was our Borden Lady Braves head coach Matt Vick and two of his seniors for his team this year. And we'll be returning with you all with head coach Doc Nash for the Borden Braves to talk about their basketball season.
We are the Borden Braves. This is where you're once a Brave, always a Brave. This is where you belong, where you are part of something bigger than yourself. Come find out how Borden inspires, inspiring leaders, champions, and college players. Come find out why Borden is so worth the drive. Be a Brave. Be inspired.
You just heard from Lady Braves head coach Matt Vick as well as Emily Cissell and Delaney Smith. Now let's bring in Borden head coach Doc Nash as well as AJ Agnew, Kasym Nash, and Brody Kennedy. Thank you all so much for joining us today. Cruz and Hayden, what do you have for us?
All right, Coach, we'll start out with you. After last night's season opener against Eastern, you finally got to see your team in their first official game of the season. What did you learn about your team and where you guys are at as a unit?
I said for 2 weeks that I liked them, and I still do. There were a lot of negatives last night. There were also a lot of positives that sometimes I don't always dwell on. As a new group, one varsity returner, 4 other guys out there. We only had 5 turnovers last night in the game. I think that's a tremendous stat for us. Field goal percentage and shot selection was not so good. But I love the way we rebounded. I love the way we fought and competed. And, there's a lot to learn. But I like my guys. I like where we're at, and we're only going to continue to get better.
Coach, like you said in that matchup against Eastern last night, team shot 26 threes on the night, went to the line once, shot 33% from the field. How do you expect your team to respond after a tough opening night loss?
Better shot selection. That's just what it comes down to. Like we talked a little bit about it last night, and it's just shot selection for us. We've got to get our ball moving a little bit more. Defensively, we've got to get in a couple more spots, just fine-tune some details. But again, I like my guys. We're together, and we're going to stick together. So I like it.
And coming into this year, there was a lot in the air about what your rotation would look like. But it seems, though, like this year you guys have a deeper bench than you guys did last year. How do you think that'll benefit the team?
We have some new guys that need to figure out some things for our bench to grow. For right now, it's going to be short like it was last year. But hopefully by end of December, our bench has grown a little bit. Just depth in terms of some new guys learning positioning, learning timing, and learning offense, learning defense. They're new to the sport, great athletes, but basketball is not a sport you can just jump in and rely solely on athleticism in a team setting.
And, Coach, you guys lost 8 seniors from your roster last year, and now you really only have 2 players that seen a considerable amount of varsity action. How difficult was it to retool an entire roster like you had to do this offseason?
Honestly, it's been kind of easy with these guys. I think they all get along. They all played together in junior high for a couple years. So here we are back together. BK got to us, I believe, sophomore year, right, BK? And he's been a blessing to us. There's no selfishness on our team. I think our kids actually buy into one thing. We're struggling a little bit to figure those things out, but they're trying. That's all I can ask. So to mold a personality of our team, it hasn't been hard for me at all. Our kids do that, so kudos to these guys. They just bought into being a team.
Coach, what excites you most about the group that you have this year?
Man, that's a tough question, Cruz. It's a great question. What excites me the most? I'm sitting here with 2 college athletes and Mr. BHS. That's exciting. BK just signed a national letter of intent to play baseball. AJ is a college golfer. Kasym put in a lot of work this week for Mr. BHS. So Coach Vick said it earlier, to represent Borden with these kids is a blessing. It excites me because they're all good kids. And that, to me, that's the most important thing. Like, hopefully we as coaches can help them become better people on and off the court. But it excites me to get to coach this group of kids because they are, and I know it sounds like a broken record. I say it every year, but we truly are really good kids, and they're fun to be a part of.
Coach, like I said earlier, with the current roster that you have and not a lot of players having a lot of varsity experience, who do you look for on your team to become that vocal leader for the group?
Who do I look forward to? That young man gets a lot of responsibility and gets a lot of butt chewings that he probably don't deserve, but that's Kasym Nash. He's a 3-year starter. Started since he was a freshman. He's put up big numbers. He knows the game inside and out. He's probably smarter than I am in terms of basketball, but he won't open his mouth, and he's got to. He's got to because he's been in some wars. He's played in some big games for us. He's the guy that our other kids kind of look to, and he's got to be that guy vocally, productivity, all of the above, and that's a lot for him. To whom much is given, much is expected.
Coach, take me through your preparation for a game. Talk about what goes into putting a game plan together, putting together practice plans, and having guys ready once game day comes around.
Well, last night it looked like we just showed up and played, but it's a lot. We try to talk about opponent weaknesses, and the first 2 weeks is mainly what we do. We'll get some film on shows they played last night. We'll get some film on all future opponents. And we try to take away the opponent's strength day in, day out in practice. We'll talk about personnel and how we're going to guard different people.
Coach, this year not only do you have your son Kasym on the team, but you also have your youngest in Kaela Nash. How is it for you to be able to coach both of your children?
It's been fun. Kylan took a year off. Obviously, he's way behind. Kasym's been playing since he was a second or third grader. I think maybe 4 in BYBL, but it's fun. It's special.
Coach, looking towards conference play, the field seems pretty well-rounded among the top 4 teams in the SAC this year. You'll be right there in the mix with teams like South Central, New Wash, and, of course, Henryville. It seems year after year are always in contention. Not to mention there will be a target on your guys' back after coming off a conference championship. So how does it feel to be defending the title instead of looking to take that crown from somebody else?
It is what it is. We have a quote, if what you did yesterday still impresses you, you haven't done squat today. So we kind of try to live by that. I'm sure you guys as former players have heard me say that. But I don't know that we're going to defend it because it's a whole different group of kids. Honestly, we're going to pursue it just like any other year. Last year is over. It's done. It's in the past. It was a great run. And these group of young men are trying to set out their own way, and hopefully it's a great ending as well.
Coach, this year Sectional 61 welcomes a different opponent as well as a new venue. You're going back to West Washington for the tournament time. How different is it in a true neutral site game for you and your team, and how do you prepare your team for a new environment?
I think the preparation's the same. I think you just take the game last night. I would say we had just as many people there as Eastern did last night. So our Borden crowd they're tremendous. They're gonna show up no matter what, whether we're at Borden, whether we're at Henryville, whether we're at South Central. They're going to show up. We're in a tournament up in Monrovia. I'm sure the Borden faithful will be there, which is a blessing. I think sometimes I know I take it for granted. I hope our kids don't, but if I do, I know they probably do as well. So we do appreciate that, but in terms of preparation for the environment, not much different. Not much at all, other than getting there, not practicing. Those type of things are different, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. By then, we'll be ready.
Coach, my final question to you, I have to ask this to you every year. It's your 17th year as the head coach here at Borden High School. Last year, you won your program's first sectional title since 2013. What has it meant for you to be the coach of Borden for such a long time?
just means I'm owed. Just means I'm owed. I'm blessed, truly blessed. Great school, great community, great kids, great former kids, great community that really supports us. So the good Lord, He's blessed me.
Coach, thanks so much. We're going to move on to Kasym Nash now. Kaso, you're the lone returning starter from last season. What has it been like trying to adjust to playing with this new group of guys around you?
It's been a little bit difficult at summer. We didn't really know what we were going to look like. We didn't have a couple kids over summer, so we're trying to figure out some stuff. But these past 2 weeks have been a lot better than I anticipated. We've gotten along great, and I like how things are going this year.
Kasym, after winning the sectional championship last season and being one of the final 8 teams in the tournament, what was a motivation for someone like you going into a brand new season?
It meant a lot. I knew that once it was over that we had to get back to work, and if I didn't start it, then nobody else was going to follow me. So I knew I had to be a leader and step up.
You've got some shooters around you. Alex Schuler started off the game hot last night. Xander Keith knocked down a couple of big shots, and so did AJ. How much does having their offensive input help you when defenses are zeroing in on you?
It means a lot. Being able to kick it to these guys, relocate, and being able to move allows a lot more movement for everybody, more shots for them too. If defense is staying on me, a bunch more opportunities. All you got to do is knock the shot down.
In Kasym, you're no longer an underclassman. You're a junior this year, and you will be looked to become more of a leader, like Coach said, and teams will definitely now know your name. Going into this season, how do you gather your teammates in late game situations, especially with the group of guys that you have who have not seen a lot of varsity experience?
It's just start of the game and finish of the game. You got to be together, whether it's the beginning or the end. Stay together through the whole thing, and at the end of the game, somebody's got to get the ball and got to get it into something. Make sure we're all on the same page. So in the end, we got the right outcome that we want.
Okay, so thank you so much. We're going to move on to AJ Agnew now. AJ, you decided to take a hiatus last season. What made you decide to return for your senior year?
To be honest with you, I missed it a lot last year, but I had to do what was best for my future. So coming back, it means a lot. You get to play on the court with my brothers again and just have a good year.
Okay, AJ, baseball, golf, tennis, now you're with basketball. You're a man of many talents. How are you able to seamlessly transfer from one sport to the next?
A lot of work. It takes a tremendous day and night. Like, you have to put in a lot of work. You might not want to, but every day you have to put in some amount of work. Even if it takes you into the night, just keep up the work and hard work will pay off.
And AJ, looking at the group of guys you have, we've already heard it from multiple people, but how much fun do you guys have day in and day out with each other as a team?
You know, it's awesome because everybody here, we're basically like brothers, and everything we do, we just always have fun with it. Nobody gets down on themselves. We always try to pick each other up, and from there, it's just do what you think.
AJ, you're no stranger to Borden basketball and Coach Nash. You played your freshman and sophomore year. What is it like playing with this group of guys and being coached by one of the more successful coaches in the county?
It feels great to have a great coach on you. He's going to tell you what you need to do, and if you don't, you're going to sit by him instead of be on the court. So that makes you work harder, and you have to know what you got to do. And then back to the players, they take care of stuff. You open up the floor for Kasym. That's a big advantage for us this year. Not just having one score and him being zeroed in on. We have 4 shooters on the court, and he's covered with 3 more, so we can get it inside and then shoot it from outside.
AJ, thank you. Brody, you're looking at an expanded role this season. How different is it being thrust into a leadership role this year?
Not much. Going from baseball, I'm always looking up. People looking up to me, so this year, becoming the senior this year, I expected to become a leader, be more vocal, hustle more, all of that.
Brody, how do you take the experiences that you gained from last season into a new season with, like Cruz said, a much larger role?
Well, last year I was more of a cheering on the bench type of guy, so this year I'm just going to still be more vocal and talk to my teammates and tell them that I trust them and I have their back.
Brody, you're one of the most competitive and hardworking kids in the area. Like Coach just said, you just signed a letter of intent to play college baseball. First of all, congratulations on that. But how has that led to success not only on the hardwood but also the diamond?
Just keep going. Don't stop. Keep pushing yourself. Eventually, it's gonna reward you. And yeah.
Final question to you, Brody. You've been a part of this team for just about 3 years now. What's your favorite thing about wearing that Borden across your chest every night?
To know that I will always have somewhere to call home. This community's done so much for me. Probably the best decision I ever made. Could be more thankful.
Kaela, if you want to wrap things up for us.
And thank you all, Coach Nash, Senior AJ Agnew, Junior Kasym Nash, and Senior Brody Kennedy. Thank you so much for all of that. And that's it for your Borden SportsNet season kickoff. Thank you so much for watching.